One of the craziest stories as a filmmaker for me was working at MTV. No, actually, I was working at MTV producing direct effect. I was like a AP or segment producer or something like that. And I would moonlight, and moonlighting kind of catapulted me into being an entrepreneur. So I had a camera. I'll go out at night and shoot some other stuff. I'll take some stuff from MTV and bring it with me. So anyway, producer I was working with, this guy Tone Boots, who's a very influential producer, writer, just an all-around creative dude. He was producing not MTV Raps, Direct Effect, and he actually was moonlighting. He was producing this poker show. It was a hip-hop poker show. I think it was on like a major network at night. Jim Jones was one of the stars who was in it. So they were like, yo, Kurt, go out and film with Jim Jones. I was like, bet, and we filming at 106 in Park, not the show, but the actual 106 in Park in Harlem. So I'm riding around with Jim Jones. It's real loud in the car, real loud. So like they sparking up, they going in. This is like 2008 or something like that. The car that I think we were rolling in was like a Maserati. Jim Jones had fast cars. This was like Ballin' time, like when Ballin' was the song. And so we get stopped by the police. So I got my camera, all my equipment's in the trunk, but in the trunk is a lot of product in the truck. So this is before, it was legal to do whatever you want to do. So we get pulled over. I was like, oh my God. I was like, my whole life flashed before me because I was like, man, we're going to get stopped. I'm about to get arrested. Who knows what's going to happen? And they looked in the trunk. They act like they didn't see nothing. The cops act like they didn't see nothing. And I'm standing there scared, opening my bag, everything. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to tell my mom, I'm sorry. I saw the two police officers. There was like a black guy and a white guy. So I didn't know what was about to happen, but we got off. Actually, there were a few more white guys than there were like 2 or 3 white guys, and he spoke mainly to the white guys. He said something slick to the cops and let us roll. And we turned up the music. They got back to the loud, and we just kept rolling for the night. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, he had the Harlem cops on lock. So that was one of my like scariest but most adrenaline pumping stories. Here's some really special moments as an intern when I was working at MTV that I saw. I was an intern on the 2000 VMAs, and most of the time I was like pulling music. I was doing music supervision the whole time on the low for like no money. We got to go to the show. And we got to like walk around. It was only like 2 of us interns, me and my boy Barian. And so I saw Aaliyah. And Aaliyah was wearing like this yellow dress. And I have, fantasized about Aaliyah since middle school maybe or something crazy. And I saw her almost passed out. That was crazy. And then that same night, I saw one of my favorite artists in the world, D'Angelo, dapped it up with him, and I told him, you're my favorite. I told him, like, you're the best artist of this generation. And took a picture with him. That was cool. Here's one of my favorite memorable moments working at MTV. So it's 2001, it's September 10th, and you know what happened the next day. So I was logging tapes in MTV News, and I stayed there till like late night, and a producer comes in and she says, hey, can you grab a camera and go try to get an interview with Michael Jackson? I was like, what? Michael Jackson? I was like, that's my favorite artist of all time. So I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I jumped up, threw my computer, went down to Madison Square Garden because they were doing this like anniversary Michael Jackson's thing. Beyonce, everybody's there. Elizabeth Taylor was there. Everybody was there. Destiny's Child, everybody. Usher. So I see Michael Jackson. They put me in this position. There's like eight entertainment. There's CBS, there's NBC, there's all these people. MTV, they put us in a cool spot. It was just me with a camera and a mic. So I was like, yo, there's Michael Jackson. I was like, oh, can you get me Michael? They were like, yeah. I was like, whoa. So Michael comes up, takes my mic, and I was like, I didn't even know what to say. And he took the mic, he's like, I love you, MTV. And gave me the mic back. I was like, whoa. I was like, it was crazy. I was like, this is the biggest moment of my life. I actually touched Michael Jackson's hand, and he was walking with Elizabeth Taylor when she was alive. Like, I was like, this is the most epic thing you could ever see in your life. And so there's this tape. I remember I transferred it was a DV tape, transferred it to Beta, and it's like a lost item, but it's somewhere. The people who work in the tape library, some people know where it is, some people don't. I used to kind of hide it, and I labeled it as something else, and like it was the most used like tape ever, but it was hard to find. So to this day, now that I'm doing some work back at MTV, I gotta find that tape because like, he hasn't been like interviewed or anything like that, in a long time or whatever. So like it was just a special moment and a special day and then the next day I wake up and I hear about on Hot 97 about the planes going into the towers. And Jay dropped The Blueprint and Mariah Carey dropped Glitter, two of the most like iconic albums those two artists ever made. And those are the craziest 2 days of my life. The reason I would hide the Michael Jackson footage from everybody else was there was a lot of clips that we put in shows. And, it was either like, Jay-Z, this, that, whatever. And some of those clips were like overused. So I felt like a special connection to this clip because I was like, I filmed this myself. It was the day before September 11th. It was my favorite artist in the world. I'm holding this joint close. And so I would only let my closest friends at MTV use that clip to put in their shows. And I would hold that tape really close. Then I had to give it up to the masses. But I think I wrote it in tag, like all the labeling and everything. It was like secret labeling. But it was just such a moment for me. And even the people in the tape library, they knew about it, and they would be like, yo, that's the hardest thing we ever seen come in the tape library. So, yeah, it was just a special moment. And, like, to this day, this is 21 years later? I'm like, I need that tape. I think I shot this on a PD-100 or a PD-150. It was the one right before the PD-150. So the Sony, I think it was PD-150. Sony PD-150 was like one of the illest cameras because it had the best color. It didn't have a good 24p because Panasonic came out with the 24p and changed the world. But PD-150 had the best color, best sound, just best Kodak. It was a dope ass camera, and like you could just roll with it. But I think I had like the ghetto one right before it, like the PD-100 or something like that I took out. But I shot some like amazing things on the PD-150. Wu-Tang Clan, shot them. Nas and Poughkeepsie. Wild stuff with the PD-150. PD-150. But the Panasonic, I'm going real technical. The Panasonic DVX-100 changed the world. Yeah, what's crazy, all my stories with the PD-150 bring me back to Cootie using, I think it was the XL1 by Canon, which was a beautiful like off-white, red and black camera that was heavy, but it shot some ill footage. And I used to jock that camera so hard. I'd be like, yo, just let me hold it. Like it was that hard. Yeah, Cootie, half of Cootie and Chike, creative control, ill filmmaker, director. Used to be a comedian. Some people don't know. And one of the creators and directors of Genius that's coming out on Netflix soon for Kanye's film. He had this camera. It was the XL1 by Canon. The XL1 that cost a lot of money. It didn't have 24p, but it had a look, and so but it was the best looking camera because it was like white, red, and black. That boy was hard. Like he used to rock that a lot. Yeah, Cootie shot Channel Zero with that XL1, and I was like, that's. I think to this day, if you go to his apartment, that XL1 is like sitting on a tripod in the crib. So a lot of genius was definitely shot with that XL1 for sure.